audience, Assalamu alaikum. A gracious welcome to you all on the second round of the first inter-school English debate competition organized by Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center. Debate is a powerful tool for creating an innovative and a logical mind. It helps develop the personality of people. In addition, a student can increase his confidence as well as the scope of his knowledge through actively participating in debate. Dear audience, today the selected motion of the debate competition is technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspirations. The team for the motion belongs to Faujdarhat Cadet College, Chattogram. The team against the motion belongs to Mazid Jarina Foundation School and College, Shariatpur. Speakers for the motion are Cadet Jawad, Cadet Sajid, Cadet Safin. Speakers against the motion are Kaji Mifta Ridita, Nazneen Sultana Kotha, Firdausi Islam Orin. The honorable adjudicators of this session are Adil Mustaq Ahmed, Debate Coach, Learning Leaders, China; Sabir Shah, Founder and CEO, Chittagong Live; Nuruddin Alamgir, Bureau Chief, Daily Sun. The topics on which our honorable judges are going to assign marks in the constructive round are Presentation 5, Language and Pronunciation 10, Presentation of Theory and Information 15, Argumentation and Rebuttal 10. The topics on which marks will be awarded in the rebuttal round are Presentation 5, Language and Pronunciation 5, Argumentation and Rebuttal 20. Dear viewers, now we are going to introduce our honorable moderator of today's program who will conduct the entire competition and announce the results at the end. The honorable moderator of today's program is Engineer Ali Ahmed, former President, Chittagong Chamber of Commerce and Industries Limited. Now I would humbly request you, sir, to come up on the stage and take your seat. Before we start the debate, let me inform you about the order and time allocation of each debater. Each debater will get 5 minutes to present his speech. An alarm bell will ring on 4th minute and final bell will ring on 5th minute. In the rebuttal round, both the team leaders will get 2 minutes each. An alarm bell will ring on 1.5 minute and final bell will ring on the 2nd minute. Dear viewers, this round of our debate competition will be posted on Facebook and YouTube at facebook.com/btvchattogram and www.youtube.com/@btvchattogram. Now, I most humbly request the honorable moderator to preside over this competition and start the debate.
Thank you very much, our host, Kadi Nabila, for making a comprehensive introduction of today's event, which happens to be the second round of the inter-school English debate. And today's topic, I'd like to repeat, I'd like to mention, is technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspirations. Today's debate will be debated for the motion by Faujdarhat Cadet College and will be opposed by Mazid Jarina Foundation School and College, Shariatpur. Without further ado, I'd like to start the event by inviting the first speaker for the motion from Faujdarhat Cadet College, Chittagong, Cadet Jawad, to take the floor and start this debate.
Pixels replace chalks, screens replace boards, but connection with heart is something we cannot afford. Respected moderator, judicious panel of judges, your opponents, and obviously enlightened audience. Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to you all. Today in this first inter-school English debate competition of the year 2023, the topic that has been selected is technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspiration, and our staunch stand is in favor of the motion. Respected moderator, today's topic throws light on three important aspects. First, technology-based education. Second, students' knowledge aspiration. And third, the moot point of this entire debate, which happens to be if technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspiration or not. According to George Gayton, a renowned professor at the University of West Georgia, USA, technology-based education is the integration of instructional technology into the learning environment. And students' knowledge aspiration refers to the strong desire and insatiable thirst of students for acquiring knowledge. August House. Our relationship with technology is a bittersweet one. We relish its presence in our life, but we dread the effect it may have on our students. So I, here along with my team, will expose before you the negative impacts of technology-based education on students' knowledge aspirations. My dear opponents, technology-based education, while offering unprecedented access to information, can also inadvertently diminish our innate desire for genuine knowledge. As we immerse ourselves into the digital world, it becomes way too easy to lose sight of our primary goal, which happens to be learning. Technology-based education, or in short, EdTech, is not a magic bullet for every situation. Now, let us look back to the dreadful period of COVID-19 pandemic, when the whole world was bound within four walls. As a result, schools were shut down, students had no other option but to use their technological devices to attend classes. And not only that, but it had terribly impacted the academic integrity around the entire world. According to the English popular, The Guardian, 2023, impact on academic integrity has been observed around the entire world. Contract cheating, academic file sharing, and also exam cheating were identified as problematic. With remote learning, cheating had become far easier for students. And not only that, my dear moderator, it has to be mentioned about the fact that students were extremely in the blurred side of the educational world. My dear opponents, I'm sure you know about Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Sundar Pichai, and all of these well-known tech billionaires. But I'm here to remind you of the fact of these great popularities, peoples, of their notion for their school-going children. Bill Gates did not let his children use any cell phone until they reached 14. He said, I quote, "Technology is just a tool in terms of making our kids work together, and the teacher is the most important." I quote. In a report with New York Times 2011, with Nick Bilton as the reporter, Steve Jobs said he had limited his children from using the newly released iPads, and not only that, but he even limited his children to use smartphone at home. Again, in a report with 2011 New York Times, Sundar Pichai said that he did not let his 11-year-old son use any cell phone, and not only that, he even limited his children to watch television at home only. My dear opponents, then why do you think that Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and all these great personalities imposed such restriction on their school-going children? Do you think that they failed to realize that they were limiting their children's knowledge aspiration by preventing them from using technological devices? Question remains, and please do answer, my dear opponents. My dear opponents, the attraction for forbidden things is the inborn tendency of human beings. I'm sure you know. But I have to mention about the fact that students cannot go on uninterrupted studying in the virtual platform due to the reasons of unwanted ads. Sometimes obscene ads slow down their screen while studying and divert their attention, let alone the scope of intentionally browsing up those sites. So how can you check whether these students are studying or enjoying those obscene sites? I'm not sure what questions you might have and answers you might give, my dear opponents, but I have to say about the fact that these students cannot go on while studying. But Einstein answered long ago, I quote, "I fear the day will arrive when technology will surpass all human interaction, but then the world will have a generation of idiots." Respected moderator, last but not least, I have to mention about the fact that the greatest son of our soils defeated the Pakistani modernized technology army with their sheer will and aspiration instilled into them by the greatest teacher, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And our friends might also suggest that in our classroom, we are using multimedia projectors and other advanced technologies. But my friends, these are only teaching aid, and not the teaching aid, but the teacher's innovative way of teaching is the only way to ignite the spark of students' knowledge aspiration. And we have to mention also about the fact that these are extremely needed. Not the teaching aid, again, not the teaching aid, but the teacher's teaching way is the only way to create spark in the students. With this, I'd like to conclude my speech here. Thank you. Thank you all.
The first speaker to speak against the motion from Mazid Jarina Foundation School, Shariatpur, Qazi Mifta Ridita.
Our national poet Kazi Nazrul Islam, a poet of love, affection and inspiration. The rebel poet in one of his poems has dreamed of a world which will rotate at the whisk of human's hand. At the last word of his poem, he earnestly said, I want to watch the globe keeping in my hand. Today, 21st century is a time, honorable moderator, when we are spreading the ray of success in the revolutionary period of science and technology. Whenever we are approaching from 4th generation to 5th generation, in such a crucial point, the proposal that the first speaker of my opponent team has presented is totally illogical, unrealistic and ridiculous as well. Thank you, honorable moderator, for giving me the floor to deliver a speech at today's debate. Our today's motion is technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspiration. For a very logical and actual reason, I, along with my team, stand against the motion. That means we'd like to say technology-based education is never limiting students' knowledge aspiration. Rather, this medium is accelerating students' thirst for knowledge. Now, honorable moderator, there may be a question. For which reason students' knowledge aspiration is decreasing? In that case, we'd like to establish our position. That means social degradation and lack of responsibility is limiting students' knowledge aspiration. And to make our position more clear, we'd like to discuss two specific sides at today's debate. Firstly, why we are saying that technology-based education is increasing students' knowledge aspiration, and to prove that, we'd like to establish three standpoints at today's debate, which are, number one, technology as the element of manifestation of education program, number two, use of technology in enriched education program, and number three, technology as the medium of science and technology all over the world. On the other hand, there will be another question. For which reason students' knowledge aspiration is decreasing? In that case, we'd like to prove that social multidimensional degradation and lack of responsibilities are limiting students' knowledge aspiration. And here also, we'd like to establish three more points, which is, number one, involvement of students in juvenile gang and attachment with crime activities. Number two, lack of responsibility in family and educational institutions. Number three, engagement in drug addiction. Honorable moderator, now I'd like to clarify the first standpoint. Very first of all, I'd like to draw the kind attention of the first speaker of my opponent here. Dear friends, you have mentioned that technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspiration. But, honorable moderator, my opponent friends have made a self-contradictory speech because technology-based education can never limit students' knowledge aspiration. Now, there may be another question. Let's take an observation. According to Secondary and Higher Education Directorate, during COVID-19 pandemic situation, in Bangladesh television and other educational institutions, online classes were held, where students participated in those classes through technology. Dear opponent, you are also the part of technology-based education system. Can you remember, during the disastrous situation, who saved your student life? But tell us, by the course of time, you're blaming the life-saving education system. Honorable moderator, how ridiculous that is. And that's the point. Why their position has been totally rejected at today's debate. Now, there may be a question. What is the reason behind limiting students' knowledge aspiration? And for a clear observation of this question, I'd like to explain the first point. That means lack of responsibility in family and educational institutions. Honorable moderator, family is a primary skill of a child. And in the future route of a child is predetermined by its family. And in this case, educational institutions play a role of leading position. But, honorable moderator, it is really a frustrating picture when we can see some families to be careless at the responsibility of the students' learning process. As a result, those students' education program are hindered, and the student life comes to a standstill situation. But, honorable moderator, this is not happening from all the students across the country. Rather, it occurs from a few number of the students who are somehow totally deprived from their family care. Let's take a data. According to BRAC, a non-government organization have recently published a survey on rural education that says almost 97% dropout students are becoming the victim of the irresponsibility of their families regarding their learning process. As a result, those students' education program and knowledge aspiration become totally blocked. Honorable moderator, as for I clearly and specifically proved two sides of today's motion. Firstly, technology-based education never ever limits students' knowledge aspiration. Rather, this medium helping them accelerating to knowledge aspiration. On the other hand, students who are lagging behind in knowledge acquisition, each of them anyhow are victim to our mentioned social degradation and lack of responsibilities. So, honorable moderator, all the logics, observation, data, and explanation once again clearly and surely prove that technology-based education is not limiting students' knowledge aspiration. Thank you, Honorable Moderator. Thank you, fellow judges. Thank you all.
Having said that, I'd like to invite the second speaker for the motion from Faujdarhat Cadet College, Chittagong. And the second speaker is Cadet Shajid.
Respected moderators, improved educators, my dear opponents and all this gathering, Assalamu alaikum. Debate goes on, and today welcome you all to this side of the house where I and my team are standing for the very justified motion, which is technology-based education is limiting student knowledge aspirations. My dear opponents, we don't say technology doesn't help in education at all. What we meant is the traditional way of education is way more effective and encouraging for the students. Face-to-face questioning and responding in the presence of a teacher acts as a toning for the students to learn, which technology miserably fails. My stubborn opponents may not agree, but the comment made by the youngest Nobel laureate Malala Yousafzai is commented with us. She said on 12th of July 2013 at the United Nations on her 16th birthday, I quote, "One child, one teacher, one pen and one book can change the entire world," I unquote. My dear opponents, is there any clue of technology-based education? The question remains. Now, let me present a report in front of you which was published in The Economist on 20th of April 2023 in an article entitled, "In America, School Teachers are Still Lagging Behind Pre-COVID Levels." According to the report, National Center for Education Statistics shows the pitiable picture of the students' education in the USA. Data shows that 98% of the public schools have been reopened and teaching the students in presence by June 2022. But COVID-19 has left its mark on children's education. In 2021, the pass rates have been plummeted for all subjects by 12% from 2020. But it was also a 25% decline with compared with their results in 2019. Learned opponents, we all know in 2021, nothing happened, but it was the direct impact of EdTech. Again, let's take a look at the picture of our country. It is crystal clear that the impact of online classes in our country was not welcoming at all. I'm here with some data collected from an article entitled as Combating the Impacts of COVID-19 School Closure in Bangladesh by Tashmir Rahman, an education specialist of the Education Global Practice of World Bank, which was published on 15th of April 2021, saying, pre-pandemic estimates show that 58% of Bangladeshi students did not achieve minimum reading proficiency by class 5, but this figure increased to 76% during the school closure, shows World Bank blogs. So, my dear opponents, despite of this, how can you still stand with the fact that technology-based education is not limiting student knowledge aspirations? I demand that answer. August Gallery. Technology-based education is the culmination of online classes which really undermines the magical attraction between the student and the teacher born out of their physical presence, especially in the classrooms. This attraction makes the student the uncut diamond, precious gems, and so on. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Alexander the Great, all these legends have immensely influenced their disciples who earn knowledge through coming in close contact with their teachers as themselves. My dear opponents, first speaker have said that in online classes you can see the teachers, but reaction is quite the opposite. If it was true eventually, then why people like us go to the stadium to watch football and cricket matches by spending money while they can watch it on the television? Why people like us go to the classroom while they can listen to the speech of Abdullah Abu Zaid Sah from YouTube? I demand that answer, my dear opponents. Respected moderator, now is the age of science and technology. In this era of scientific invention, research in the laboratories hold the utmost importance. Moreover, students like us who read in the science group at secondary, higher secondary and tertiary levels need to do practical classes. In these practical classes, with the presence of the teacher, students like us do experiments to enhance our knowledge. Most importantly, the heart of being the ministry of our education, that is the new curriculum, also give emphasis on learning through experiment and gaining experiment with real life. So, my dear opponents, if you still stand with the fact that technology-based education is increasing student knowledge aspiration, then I must say that you are swimming in a pool with no water. Enlightened present. Former United States Surgeon General Jocelyn Elders once said, I quote, "I don't feel that we can educate children if they are not healthy, and we can't keep them healthy if they are not educated. There has to be a marriage or bond between health and education." According to the insider source on 20th of April 2013, by the Open Access Government, which have published a report entitling that in America, that technology-based education has hindered the students' learning ability. In that report, they have surveyed over 1,600 educators across the UK to see if teachers have believed that technology has hindered the student learning ability or not. And you'll be shocked to see the result because 63% of the teachers think that technology has hindered the learning ability of students. Respected moderator, I think our opponents are vainly trying to prove the fact that technology-based education is increasing student knowledge aspirations. But if it was true, then why why the generation like us cannot accept the legendary personalities like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton or Aristotle? Why aren't we getting Dr. Muhammad Shahidullah, Dr. P.C. Roy or Dr. Kudrati Khuda? Why are they influenced by technology-based education at that time? Please respond to my inquiry, my dear opponents. So I request my dear opponents to not spreading the fences where the child are course by accepting the motion that technology-based education without a doubt is limiting our student knowledge aspirations. With this, I'll conclude my speech. Thank you all for your patience hearing.
With this, I'd like to invite the second speaker against the motion from Mazid Jarina Foundation School to take the podium, and Nazneen Sultana Katha, take your podium for your deliberation.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator, for giving me this floor to say something at today's debate. Honorable Moderator, I would like to start my speech with rebuttal of my opponent's party. Honorable Moderator, the second speaker of my opponent party has made a confusion between social media and technology-based education. In fact, without having a proper understanding of the term technology-based education, he has misinterpreted the term, which is totally unacceptable. Honorable Moderator, he's discussed media may mislead some teenager, but ultimately failed to prove the merit of technology-based education in a greater sense. On the other hand, we have successfully proved that from elementary to higher education, students are being benefited through technology-based education. They are acquiring knowledge in different sectors of science and technology. So in that case, we find no acceptance of my opponent's argument at today's debate. Honorable Moderator, now I would like to clarify the second standpoint of our position, how technology-based education works in overall education program. Honorable Moderator, if we have a flashback in the page of history, we can see once that and this pen was the element of our learning. Then, through the course of time, our learning elements transform into blackboard with white chalk or pen and ink with paper policy. Honorable Moderator, now time has changed. We have climbed up at the highest peak of science and technology. The whole world is now approaching towards technology-based education. When we are ready to keep the pack with the whole world, as is a crucial point, my opponent's presented proposal is really nothing but illogical and unspectable. Honorable Moderator, at present, if we have a glimpse at the developed country, we can see the trend of technology-based education. Let us have an evidence. According to Canadian Bureau for International Study, Canadian education system is totally technology-based. Primary, secondary and post-secondary, in every sector, technology-based education program is implemented there. From the report, it is also clear that there are more than 1,500 educational institutions in Canada, where a 99% educated country, each and every learner is used to learning with technology-based equipments. There is no hassle of pen and paper. The students are learning continuously by using smart devices and technology. Honorable Moderator, not only in Canada, but also in USA, UK, Sweden, Norway, and so many other countries' education program is run using technology. Honorable Moderator, then the key point is technology-based education system is not limiting students' knowledge aspiration, rather than a leading position in every sector of science and technology. But Honorable Moderator, yet, how my opponent frame blame technology-based education as a hindrance of students' knowledge aspiration, then there is no doubt that all logic and argument end in smoke. Honorable Moderator, now, if we look in the context of our country, then we can see we are also working with technology-based education, where a school and college have been modernized with all technology-based equipments. Classrooms have been transformed into multimedia smart classroom. According to Ministry of Information Technology, 5,000 Sheikh Wasla Digital Lab have been set up in the school all over the country in order to ensure technology-based education, where students are getting opportunities to learn various topics and aspects of science and technology. Honorable Moderator, according to Save the Children, students' interests have increased than earlier to use technological device due to technology-based education. They have shown in a survey, students present has been increased up to 20 to 40% more in multimedia smart classroom than traditional classroom. That means, in this medium, both students' attraction, attention and participation is better than before. And Honorable Moderator, this evidence, logic and data successfully prove that technology-based education system is not limiting students' knowledge aspiration, rather is accelerating students' knowledge aspiration. Honorable Moderator, on the other hand, a few number of students' education program is being hindered. To identify the reason, we have presented that the overall social degradation and responsibility is responsible for the case where gang culture is one of the likely results. According to a report of the Daily Ittifaq published on 21st November in 2022, there are 78 juvenile gangs in capital city Dhaka.
and more than 1,000 of gangs here and there across the country. Now, we can see the oppressiveness of juvenile gangs in every city. Sometimes they join in lawless motorcycle race, sometimes pickpocketing in group during evening, sometimes they're snatching everything from the passerby at dark night. None is safe from them. Honorable Moderator, the report further says the members of juvenile gangs are between 14 to 25 years and their family have no responsibility to as a result of their education is seriously hindered and their knowledge aspiration is ultimately limited due to social irresponsibility and degradation. So, Honorable Moderator, all the discussion, observation, logics and data successfully and undoubtedly prove that technology-based education is not limiting students' knowledge aspiration. Thank you, Honorable Moderator, fellow judges, and thank you all.
Now we come to the defending team leader of the defending team, Cadet Safin.
Thank you, respected moderator. Now, I'll be taking the floor, and as the final speaker of my team speaking from the motion, I'll be wrapping up this debate. So let's return to the heart of the matter. Throughout this discussion, we've been examining the topic, technology-based education is limiting the students' knowledge aspirations from various angles. But at its core, this debate is actually about bringing my dear opponent's mindset to the right path by agreeing to join with us in saying that indeed, it is technology-based education which is limiting the students' knowledge aspirations. August presence, Assalamu alaikum. At first, let me start off by saying that both the speakers of my team had left a bunch of questions for my dear opponents to answer. But unfortunately, most of them were left unaddressed. I sincerely hope that me and my team won't be left curious for answers by the time our learned opponents have ended all their logic. Respected moderator, I think we can all agree that the speakers of our opponent's team have been beating about the bush for quite a long time now. Their first speaker has said that technology-based education attracts, motivates, and also helps the students in acquiring knowledge. Dear opponents, we never denied that technology can help you in acquiring knowledge. But come to the main point here. The ease of accessing information right at our fingertips deprives us from delving deeper into the subjects. Whereas, suppose we search for the information from maybe a book or in the traditional way, we would have to go through so many different pages and we would definitely come across many other sources of information as well. And this would greatly enhance our knowledge. So can't we get the taste of how much technology is actually limiting our knowledge here, my dear opponents? Question remains. Moving on, the second speaker of my opponent's team talked about how technology can also enhance students' creativity level. But research shows the opposite. August presence. On the 5th of February 2023, the Daily Star reported that the ChatGPT-3 technology, which I think we are all familiar with, was one of the ways in which students misused it to complete their assignments without actually understanding the concepts or the problem-solving strategies involved in it. And this led them to a lack of critical thinking and problem-solving skills as well. My dear opponents, please note it that this technology itself was invented by mankind. We were behind the invention of this technology. So why would we depend on an invention's intelligence when we have the brain for it ourselves? I expect our opponent's third speaker to please answer my question. Respected moderator, we must also acknowledge the benefits of technology-based education as well. Jenny Arledge, a dedicated and motivated career and technical education educator with 3 years of leadership experience and 20 years of classroom teaching, has quoted that technology can become the wings that will allow the educational world to fly further and faster, but only if we allow it. And this is the reason why we don't deny that technology-based education has its benefits as well. But in this case, my dear opponents, the negative impacts of technology-based education outweigh the positive impacts by a massive extent. And let me give you an example. In 2014, Manfred Spitzer, a German neuroscientist, gave a full account of the risks of adopting technology in education and also warned against its potential negative impacts on students' achievements. He added that students do not learn from ebooks the same fashion they do from printed books or magazines. I repeat, they do not learn from ebooks the same fashion they do from printed books or magazines. In the same year, Kathleen Bonwicki, a renowned author, adopted a similar viewpoint, namely that students had become lazy because of their heavy and also daily reliance on technology. Now, honestly speaking, even after hearing all these points, I don't understand how my dear opponents are still standing firm against the motion here. Now, let me talk about how technology-based education can also hamper our interpersonal skills. We know 3 skills are very much needed for the students to be efficient in the classroom according to the Cambridge University Press. And these 3 skills are discipline, concentration, and at last, communication. Now, technology-based education also replaces or reduces face-to-face interactions. Interpersonal skills such as nonverbal communication, body language reading, and the ability to establish rapport are best developed in real-life interactions. But if we over-rely on digital communication, this can lead to a lack of proficiency in these areas. Interpersonal skills also include conflict resolution, negotiation, and at last, compromise. But in the online environments, the absence of immediate feedback and the impersonal nature of text-based communication may hinder the development of these skills. Now, My dear yet stubborn opponents might suggest that technology-based education is irrelevant to the interpersonal skills, but let me prove you wrong. As I already said, according to the Cambridge University Press, 3 skills are very much needed for the students to be efficient. And guess what, my dear opponents? All of these 3 skills were hampered at a staggering rate of 42%, 27%, and 31% due to the use of technology in education. So tell me, my dear opponents, does it not make interpersonal skills an important subject for acquiring knowledge as well? Please do answer. Respected moderator, United Nations, the biggest organization of the whole world, has warned that heavy reliance on technology in education may be unproductive or even detrimental if it interferes with the acquisition of basic skills. And then again, Marcus Antoinus, one of the directors of UNESCO, has quoted that there is little robust evidence of technology's added value in education. So, my dear opponents, when the biggest organization of education themselves are complaining about the use of technology in education, then why can't you accept the reality? So at the very end of my speech, I'm inviting our dear opponents to join with us and tune with us that indeed it is technology-based education which is limiting the students' knowledge aspirations. With this, I'd like to conclude my speech here. Thank you, August presents, for your patience hearing.
And now I'd like to invite the team leader speaking against the motion from Mazid Jarina Foundation School, Shariatpur, and she is Firdausi Islam, the team leader.
Bangabandhu satellite is our pride. Digital Bangladesh is a realism. Smart Bangladesh is tomorrow's conviction, a dream for which billions of students have taken technological-based education. Among them, some has been entrepreneur, some a learner, and some are students. Today, 10-Minute School is a family of 3 million learners for which the most creative mentor, Ahmed Sadiq, has got it an international title. This is the time when we can hear the sounds of the triumphs of technological-based education system. In such a context, we every 6 debaters are fighting a debate on technological-based education system is hampering and limiting a student's knowledge aspiration. For every actual and factual reason, I here choose to stand against the motion. Honorable moderator, respected judges, and fellow audience, greetings to all. Honorable moderator, this is a matter of repent that today, at 21st century, our learned opponents are claiming that technological-based education is nothing but a villain to a student's knowledge aspiration. Honorable moderator, which is not only ridiculous but also illogical as well. Honorable moderator, my question goes to the team leader of my opponent party. Dear friends, for the preparation for today's debate, for collecting all this data and information to quench the thirst of your knowledge, which medium have you used to collect all these data from? We need a straightforward answer to this question. Honorable moderator, there is no doubt that we 6 debaters have collected all of our data, information, and statistics from a technological-based website. Why? Because this is the only medium with which students like us can get the aspiration for knowledge, can quench the thirst of their knowledge. So, Honorable moderator, this observation clearly proves that we find no claim of our opponent's logic at today's debate. Honorable moderator, now I would like to clarify the third standpoint of my position. And that is the practical use of technology-based education to quench the student's knowledge aspiration. Honorable moderator, technology has made the journey of acquiring knowledge and its aspiration more comfortable than before. Honorable moderator, once students were only dependent on the teachers to get inspired to acquire knowledge, and they only had to rely on a library to enrich their knowledge. But today, technology-based education is asking students golden touch. Now, a student can quench the curiosity of their knowledge by the help of technology within a short period of time. Honorable moderator, we have been seeing so many technological-based websites such as the Education Center, Khan Academy, Educationpedia of Bangladesh, Shikhak Bataun, etc. Sites which are flourishing the latent talent of millions of students. Honorable moderator, if we take an example, at present, Khan Academy is schooling over 100 million students every year through technological-based education platform. Honorable moderator, last but not the least, today we can perambulate in every section of science and technology through technological education platform, classes through e-learning. Honorable moderator, we can also participate in different research methodological classes through e-learning. A student of University of Dhaka can easily get access to world's most prominent universities such as Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, etc. for his research purposes. And students can quench their knowledge and get to know all of these with the help of technological-based education platform. And this is not limiting their knowledge aspiration, rather it is accelerating the pace of it. Honorable moderator, so it needs no more explanation to prove the effectivity of technological-based education to accelerate a student's knowledge aspiration. Honorable Moderator. Now let's have a look at the other side of the coin. Here we can see some students are being deprived of their studies and their knowledge aspirations are being limited. Now what is the reason behind this? The reason is social degradation and the lack of responsibility where drug addiction plays a vital role. Honorable Moderator, our young generation are continuously being introduced to different types of drugs at different times. As a result, due to this social degradation, some of are being affected with drugs and their education and future are being collapsed. Let's take an observation. According to the survey of Anti-Drug Directorate, at present Bangladesh, there are 75 lakh drug addicts, among whom 80% are juvenile and students. The report further says that this huge amount of drug-addicted juveniles are anyhow deprived of their family and parents' responsibility. So, Honorable Marita, now the question is, which technological-based education platform will my opponent party blame for this 80% of students dropping out of school and limiting their knowledge aspirations? So, Honorable Marita, I have clearly and specifically proved two sides of today's motion. Firstly, technological-based education platform is never ever limiting a student's knowledge aspiration. Rather, this side is highly benefiting the medium. On the other hand, students who are lagging behind in education are the victim of the aforementioned social degradation and lack of responsibility. Honorable Marita, all this data, information, and clarification vigorously proves that we find no acceptance of our opponent's logic at today's debate, and technological-based education is not limiting students' knowledge aspiration. Thank you, Honorable Marita, respected judges, and thank you all.
We now enter the rebuttal phase, which is a small slot that will be given to both the teams to put their concluding arguments or remarks. And for that, I call upon Cadet Safin to take the floor to speak for this rebuttal for the motion.
Thank you, respected moderator, for once again giving the floor. Hearing all the points of my opponent speakers, who are just straddling the fences without actually focusing on the main points, are nothing but just a great ridicule. The opponent's first speaker has said that 97% students drop out from schools because of social degradation. Then again, our opponent's third speaker has also said that 80% students drop out from school. Then what are your sources, my dear opponents? And then again, my dear opponents, your first speaker has said that technology-based education had helped the students to get the teachers to get an overview of the improvement of the students during the COVID period. But let me prove you wrong, my dear opponents. During the COVID-19 situation, the whole world, including our country, completely depended upon technology-based education. But what is the result here? The result is that the government had to give auto pass to the board examinees and also shorten the syllabus for board exams as well, because the students had hardly any academic improvement during this period. And also, this technology inspired the younger generation to pass their valuable time in playing PUBG, taking snaps, and also sharing personal photos and creating TikTok videos. My friends, is this your so-called aspiration of knowledge? Then again, dear opponents, if you really think that technology-based education can do everything, then why have you come here from Shariatpur, such a distant part of the country? You could have just attended this debate from virtual media such as Zoom or even Google Meet, but you did not do so, because we know and everyone knows that real-life interaction is way more important than that of virtual ones, and that is the point we are focusing on. Yes, my dear opponents, we have used internet, laptops, smartphones to prepare ourselves for debate, but you have also done it. But is it for your knowledge aspiration? If you did not have this competition, would you do it? Because most people use internet to get desired information easily. It is a shortcut path. I am repeating myself. It makes it easier for us to get information, not increase our desire for knowledge. And this is the point we are also focusing on. Most students read books only to pass the exam to get certificate. But people like Arozali Matapur, Kazi Nozru, and also Robindran also read books out of knowledge to which aspiration which technology cannot perform. So at the very end of my speech, I'm once again suggesting my dear opponents to please move along with us and say that indeed it is technology-based education which is limiting the students' knowledge aspirations.
And now I call upon the team leader who are opposing this motion, and the team leader is Fardowsi Islam Orin, to take the floor and present your rebuttal.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator, for giving the floor once again at the rebuttal session. At the very beginning, I would like to draw the attention of my opponent's team. Dear opponent, you have identified social medias like Facebook, TikTok, liking, or online video games as a limiting weapon for students' knowledge aspiration, which is totally illogical and unrealistic proposal. Honorable Moderator, why? Because the equipment of technological-based education system and social medias are quite different from each other. And Honorable Moderator, my regret is right here. When we three teammates invited our learned opponents to differentiate between these two terms, they completely failed to get out of their misconception. So, Honorable Moderator, there's no doubt that their presented logics have been proved baseless at today's debate. Honorable Moderator, each of the speaker of my opponent party claimed that technological-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspiration. But in that case, we invited them to specifically clarify how technology-based education system is limiting students' knowledge aspiration. But in response, they blame social media in the name of technological-based education system, which is once again proving their misconception. Honorable Moderator, even if we think for a while that technological-based education system is hampering a student's knowledge aspiration, then it is not the fault of the medium. Rather, in this case, we cannot ignore the irresponsibility of the guardians. Honorable Moderator, if a guardian takes the responsibility of their child, and if every student approach their study using technological-based education platform, then this medium will accelerate the student's education program and will never make an interruption. So, Honorable Moderator, we have clearly and specifically proved two sides of today's debate. Finally, firstly, technological-based education system never ever limits a student's knowledge aspiration. And on the other hand, students who are lagging behind in education systems are anyhow the victim of our knowledge aspiration and social degradation and the irresponsibility of our families. So, Honorable Moderator, I would like to conclude with a strong appeal so our learned opponents approved today's debate. Thank you, Honorable Moderator, fellow judges, and thank you all.
Thank you, Firdausi Islam Oreen. And with that, we come to the conclusion of this intensely debated, relevant subject by both the team. The judges' results will be here in a minute or in a short time. And I'd just like to take this opportunity for thanking both the teams of the Chittagong Cadet College and also the team coming all the way from Shariatpur. They've fought tooth and nail, and it's up to the judges to come to today's result. But it's been very well debated and it's very impressive. It's been done in a language that's not our mother language, but still it's very impressive, and we are confident that these children of today that will be the leaders in the future, they have a intense motivation, and it's apparent that both the parties have gone very deep into the subject. It's quite a difficult, mature subject. I also thank the teachers and their coaches for both the team. They've taken the trouble to prepare both the teams, and take an opportunity to also thank the honorable judges and today's anchor, Qazi Nabila. Having said that, let me have the pleasure to announce the results of today's debate. Let me also mention the debate once again. The subject says that the technology-based education is limiting students' knowledge aspirations. So both teams tried their best. The defending team does their best, as well as the opposing team. But at the end of the day, we do have a result coming from the honorable judges, and I have the pleasure of announcing them. The winning team of today's debate is Faujdarhat Cadet College, Chittagong. My congratulations to the team and wish you all the best. And now, the best speaker for this event is Cadet Shafin, the team leader of the day. Thank you very much, honorable guests and the speakers, and also the honorable judge and the host. I'd like to conclude this session. Thank you very much.